Cyberpunk. So we've had 2 delays with Cyberpunk this year, right? It's supposed to come out in February, I believe. And then it got delayed. I believe it was February. It was either February or... Yeah, it was either February or April.
I think it's April.
It was February. No, April was The Last of Us, I thought. The initial release date was... It was supposed to come out earlier this year. Then they delayed it to May. And then they delayed it to November.
April 16th to September 17th.
Oh, right. No, okay. I'm thinking of something else then. I'm thinking
there
of
were
The
a
Last
lot of games that were delayed.
I'm thinking of The Last of Us. The Last of Us did. Yeah, there was a lot, right? So The Last of Us. So this one, yeah, supposed to come out in April. Then delayed to September. Then delayed to November. And they wanted more time. They wanted to polish it. Right. Now, we've talked about this game a whole bunch. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the year by far. And I think you agree with me on that one. Aaron's excited to play it. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to play it. Like, I think we're going to be playing the living hell out of that one. So, as a coder, my first thought was, okay, they just need more time to pull bugs out, right? And that's a long process. That takes a lot of time to do. So, a big problem in the industry right now with game devs is they're basically doing this thing called crunch time, where they are working ridiculous hours numerous times a week because they have to hit these deadlines. So they delay and blah, blah, blah. They were not supposed to be doing crunches. They're supposed to have plenty of time to finish it. Mm-hmm. Now it's what, like 5 weeks away, I think, give or take?
November 19th.
So 5-6 weeks away, right? So 6 weeks away, and they're having to do crunch time. So in essence, I don't think they're going to delay it again because that's going to set the world asunder in the gaming industry. Yeah. So now they're doing crunches, which includes 6 days a week. And I would say, fine, cool. But they also said that it's not going to have as much content as The Witcher 3. And it's not going to be as long as The Witcher 3. No, I'm sorry. It's not going to have... The world isn't as big as The Witcher 3. And again, made by the same company. And it's not going to have as long of a story for The Witcher 3. Aaron was telling me the reason they said that is because they found out that a lot of people started playing The Witcher 3. The story was so long, people didn't finish it. Makes sense. But The Witcher 3, I don't know what the development time was, but I don't imagine it was as long as this game, because this game got announced in like 2012 when I first saw the trailer for it. And after all the success they had with Witcher 3, it could translate, into better development for that. So, what the hell? It's kind of like, why is it that they need to crunch? That's as long as it took for development of The Witcher?
Yes. 3.5 to 4 years.
So, something is very odd with that, right?
Or so Google says.
We're not getting as much as we got from The Witcher 3, but yet this is taking substantially longer now that I have to do crunch time. And if it gets delayed, that's going to piss people off. I mean, people are excited about what Miles Morales right now and Demon's Souls. But as far as Xbox goes, we were talking with Kyle about it last week. What were some of the more exciting launch titles for Xbox? Does anyone, I don't even
Assassin's
remember.
Creed?
Yeah, but you can get that on PlayStation 2 as well. But I guess you'd be able to get Cyberpunk on both. So in essence, yeah, if Xbox... But I wouldn't even say Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be as popular as Cyberpunk. I don't think it's going to come even close.
Probably not.
So then more than likely, if the Xbox... If they don't... I don't know. That's really frustrating to me. That's very unfortunate. And is there anything specific the article says that... for the delay about like why or what is they're trying to do?
I don't know about why. The article is mostly just, I thought that you said that you weren't going to require your developers to do any crunches. And he was like, yes, at first we were trying not to. I never specifically said it's out of the question and then saying that it's mandatory. So it's basically just talking about the moral aspect of forcing people to do a crunch. This article didn't exactly say
why it is that they're needing to crunch.
Well, let's look it up.
I mean, I don't know, man. My question is, what is the current state of the game? Is it a buggy mess that needs to be delayed? Or is it like, all right, you might shoot a guy and, he'll fly and get stuck to the ceiling every once in a while. I can live with that.
I can't.
You can't? You want it to be perfect right out of the box? Or right out of the cable modem?
I mean, no game's ever perfect. That's the bottom line. No game's ever perfect. Grand Theft Auto 6. It was a great game, but it wasn't perfect.
It's 5.
Or 5.
Yeah.
Wasn't perfect. You know?
They delayed it twice too, but they had way longer gaps in their delay.
I think it's just... I think that there's just what's happening is this game has been since 2012. It's been talked about 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It should be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no excuse for it not to be.
Yeah. Again, it just depends on the state of on everything. Like, 'cause if it comes out a buggy mess, that's a problem.
Developing this kind of game for especially the new consoles, that might be what the issue is.
And then you add COVID on top of that. It's probably adding to the equation.
Yeah.
So they are saying mostly just ironing things out and bugs, that the game is completely playable and pretty much done.
Okay.
It just needs bugs.
It's bug testing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 80% of, I don't know, some statistic like 80% of the average software developer's time is spent debugging.
Which makes sense because, I mean, especially if there are so many
100% true.
storylines in this, you have to play through every single decision tree in order to find where the bug is, and then go in and fix it, and then test it again to see if it's fixed. If it's not fixed, test it again.
Okay, so it's not quite that simple, because as long as it's usually, you don't typically have to go through every single step. You just have to know, all right, I need to go from A to B, and that could be, let's say, 90 hours into the game. I can recreate the internal state of the game of what it would be had I done all that, as long as I've tested up until that point. So it's like, okay, I validated the first 80 hours. I know that all of that's good. And I have to validate the next 20. I know what the internal state looks like. So I can just put in a debug shortcut menu, go to that particular point of the game with all the values set up the way that they need to be set up for me to do my testing. The biggest thing that I would imagine is weird with this is like scenario testing, because you're talking about physics and guns and stuff like that. So you have AI that's trying to make decisions in the middle of combat. So it has to be able to make the correct decisions rather than running into a wall. Or as Joey said, his hand, LeBron James' hand goes through a ref.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff like that. And if they're trying to make a truly perfect, like immaculate, immersive experience, yeah, it's going to be tough to do. I mean, your physics engine, you tweak one thing, right? When you go to the deep levels of an application and you say, I need to speed up gravity or whatever here. Well, if you don't do that for that specific point, it's going to affect the entire game. So now you have to go check all that stuff. So sometimes what they'll do is they'll go in and they'll say, all right, in this particular moment, because of some other coding bugs, so they'll put a patch on that basis says, all right, in this building, in this particular moment, here's some code that says, when I shoot this dude in the ass, make sure he goes to the left. Mm-hmm. They'll do that stuff. It's rare, but I mean, it happens, because it's quicker to do that than to sit there and try to find like the fundamental problem with why the ass shooting is not working the way that it's supposed to work.